I'm sick and tired of comparisons made between heavy and soft music. Not only they are directed towards different public, but also one is just unreachable by the other. Metal music and all heavy genres are completely demolished by pop or rap industry in terms of popularity and widespreadness. Pop music is not really a genre, I know, but we all understand what type of music is pop music, because there's lots of different genres included in what we call pop, but it's pop because it's popular and it constantly changes, so it's not really fair to call pop music a genre, but generally know what type of music is pop music. So let's just establish that for this video. I'm not here to compare the two, lyrically, musically, or whatever way they are compared. I am here to discuss why exactly metal sucks when it comes to popularity. And I am sure heavy genres can exist without wide popularity. I mean, they do now. Why metal is such an outsider in music industry amongst all the popular genres. It is safe to say that music is not really a piece of art anymore, but rather a piece of business. Of course, this may not apply to 100% of musicians, but it is a growing trend. It is easily comparable to the movie industry. While there are creators who create for the sake of art, there are huge money machines behind the creators that worry only about their profit. So when it comes to comparing any popular genre to any heavy genre, softer or happier music is far more successful and profitable than heavier stuff. Therefore, there are far less metal musicians out there, less motivation to create more and better. Since we touched on motivation, let's elaborate. Motivation usually is not about profit and popularity at all. It is about a loyal fan base and constant feedback. This is obviously very hard to obtain, but once it's there, a band or musician can rely on it for all criticism and motivation needed. Small bands often lose their motivation and self-esteem to keep going because they see their future as depressive and desperate struggle to get more exposure and fame. Nothing else. Not even for money, just for the sake of finding their loyal fans. This is a huge thing. It applies to anything like YouTube. When after a very successful year, I started getting less and less views, I started to lose motivation to make new content. And only the loyal Discord slaves fan base kept me going through all these tough times. Creating videos that I want rather than videos that will make views. Okay, that last part was kind of bullshit because I rarely upload like one video per 2 months, but yeah, I'm definitely motivated. Parallels with music are obvious. Without motivation, there is no content. Musicians want their music to be meaningful and not pointless. Because of how small metal is compared to the trending genres, loyal fans are extremely rare, especially considering how toxic metal community can be. And it can be very toxic. Oh boy. Throughout history, people reached for simplicity. This is a very philosophical topic, but let's just sort of skim over it. Making the accomplishment of the task as simple as possible is very important, as it may reduce some potential work. This is everywhere. In art, in film, in music. Simple music just sounds more concise and well put together rather than more technical sound. Movies that are not overcomplicated and quite simple in understanding are also successful in general public. You could say metal and heavy music is more complicated and hard to both make and sell, considering people nowadays get annoyed by intros being too long. People like easy and straightforward everything, including music. A good metal music usually fails at that, as it delivers heavier topics with heavier sound. And not also forget that there's a lot of shitty metal music that's complicated and hard, and it's doing that for the sake of just doing that. And there's plenty of bands like this that would do some crazy shit, like completely unnecessary, just to sound more progressive. It is no secret that generally people listen to music now to either dance or have a good time, and since it's pretty hard to imagine yourself dancing happily with a smile on your face to say nothing else matters, Actually, now that I think about it, it's really not. Metal is edgy. Themes about depression, death, despair, injustice. Obviously, there are upbeat and motivational heavy music out there like Beartooth, or more aggressive music that makes you want to fight someone like Hatebreed. One thing is certain, none of those things are appealing to mainstream listeners. Considering what kind of rappers are popular nowadays and what they are rapping about, it is not a surprise why metal is not on the charts of trending music. And here comes the most important question of this video. If the cost of being popular is creating boring, repetitive music with almost no meaning or message, then do you really want to associate metal with the word popular? And of course, I'm not trying to be like a music snob here, like I'm trying to say, oh, metal is on another level of meaningfulness, and fuck that. I hate when people use metal music as like the ideal of music and every other music is shit, because that's definitely not the case. There's a lot of bad metal music with no meaning whatsoever, and there's a lot of mediocre metal music that tries to be very smart and meaningful. Meanwhile, it uses like metaphors that have been used by almost everyone in the history of Earth ever. Are heavy genres destined to be the underdogs in 21st century? It certainly wasn't like this in the previous century, when heavier music was pretty popular actually. So finalizing all the diarrhea I just spat with this video, metal music does not need popularity. It already has enough of fan base and popularity. I think comparisons to pop and rap industries is completely stupid, as it does not prove or disprove anything. Just enjoy wherever the hell you're listening to. The only big problem with the fact that metal music is not quite widespread and receives a lot of exposure is new bands, upcoming artists that are just starting off. On top of competition, there's also the fact that there's not a lot to work on, and the fan base is significantly lower and smaller. So I guess that's another important thing about comparisons of metal and pop. Even though metal can never top pop in terms of popularity, does it really need to?
Just leave it alone! I am about to explode!